Welcome to Coinology, the podcast. Hey, and welcome to another episode of Coinology. Season 5, y'all. We are in it and we are kicking it. And I am so excited to have this next guest with us. I did not think this was going to happen, but it did. And it's funny because I feel like I manifested this probably, how long have you guys been on air?
7, 8 years.
Okay. I think I manifested this. I'm going to share that story with you guys in a minute. But I have none other than Marsau Scott in the studio, y'all. Give it up for Marsau. As the crowd goes crazy around the corner. Let me tell you why I say I think I manifested this. Okay, so it may have been 6 or 7 years ago. And I remember meeting Tisha for the very first time. She came into my other office. And she came in when you guys had just did the first season of Love and Marriage Huntsville. Mm-hmm. I had not seen the season, but she had came into the office to talk about brands and things of that nature. You guys are very, very new. But I remember all of my friends kept telling me, have you seen that new show on OWN? Have you seen it? You really should watch the show. Everybody kept getting, because they knew at that point I was, detoxing from reality show. Mm-hmm. They said, but it's something you would probably want to see. Powerful black couples, da-da-da-da-da-da-da. I don't have time. I can't deal with it anymore. I was just detoxing. Tisha comes into the office. We talk. I had not seen Love and Marriage Huntsville yet. And then comes Thanksgiving. And, Thanksgiving, you have time off. And somebody said, Ebony, you really need to binge watch this show. And I did it. My cousin came in town for the Thanksgiving break, and I binge watched that show. And as I watched that show, I kept saying, somebody I want to have a conversation with. Mm-hmm. And that somebody was you.
To set me straight, eh?
No, not to set you straight. Because this is the thing, Marsau. I think a lot of what you say, I agree with. Mm-hmm. I think it's the time that we're living in now is what questions, because people have to operate differently today because dynamics have changed. But I think if people could, they would. And we'll talk a little bit more about it, right? There's been a lot of blogs and a lot of discussion. That's why I wore my little blog extra shirt today, right? Extra shirt, all about it, right? But I think there's so much of what you say that I resonate with. Mm-hmm. And I want us to just talk about it a little bit more, because I think what people tend to do with headlines, they take a headline and they just run with that versus going deeper into why. And I want to explore that a little bit more today.
All right. I'm interested.
All right. So tell me a little bit about you, Marsau. Where do you come from?
I am one of 8 children. I am from Pontiac, Michigan.
Okay.
6 boys, 2 girls. I am, I guess, the knee child, the middle child. So I'm 6 of 8. I have a younger brother, younger sister. So it's my mom had 3 kids from her first marriage, and then my dad and her together have 5 kids. Mm-hmm. And so it's Lawrence, Jennifer, Max, Mark, Maurice, Marcel, Milton, and Micah.
Wow, all M's.
Oh, yeah. Well, my grandfather, Mark Scott Sr., he named all his children MJ Scott.
Okay.
Because his idea was anytime you look in the phone book, I always wanted to be MJ Scott. And so that's a thing that we just carried out. My dad was MJ Scott, and Mark James Scott Jr., my uncle Michael, at Millicent. And so now across the board, Maurice has, Maurice Jr., Micah has Micah, and Micah. He has 2 kids named Micah, boy and girl.
Wow.
And my older brother has Madison. Millicent has Mia and Mikey, and of course me with Macy, Mila, and MJ. So all MJ Scotts across the board.
And you and Maurice, are you guys the closest out of?
In general, in life, my wife and I are best friends.
Okay.
Yeah, so
that's good.
Maurice is a distant best friend. I just want to make sure she understands that Maurice is not my best friend, although he's been accused of being my best friend. Now, me and Maurice are pretty close.
Okay. Yeah. So when you guys chose to do the show, did you guys say, I'm going to do this together, either take us both, or?
It wasn't, we didn't have to. We were just, but me and Maurice been like that, though.
Okay.
I mean, we got different last 4 digits of our social security number. Our driver's license number in Michigan was almost, and Michigan got a long driver's license number. So we've only been separated just by 4 digits in our lives. I mean, Reese is about 13 months older than me, but we went to school, we grew up together, we went to out of state together, we went to elementary, high school, junior high together. He went to college, and then I ended up following him down to college. We started a business together. We had many different business adventures together. So it was
pretty much a known thing. People typically see you, they see Maurice as well.
Yeah, well, I guess since we got married, we ain't just like thick as thieves like that before. But at the same time, yeah, we hung out together, so we're almost the same person. We're very different, but we're almost the same.
Did you guys grow up in a very, I guess, well-to-do household?
Well-to-do what?
Meaning financially, where you guys...
Is that what I'm giving? Do I feel like we grew up in...
Just wondering.
What do you think?
Well, going back to one of the episodes that I saw, it seemed as if you may have come from a family, maybe a middle-class family.
Middle class. Like, so when we were growing up, we defined middle class as people that drank Capri Suns, had braces, and had cable in every room. Yeah, so no.
No, okay.
No. So I would say this. We lived in every side of Pontiac. We had to stay with our grandparents during the summers, and the families would be broken up. So Lawrence, Jennifer, and Max would be with one. Then Mark, Maurice, Marsau be with our other grandparents either in Chicago or in Virginia. And then Milton and Michael B. So we're somewhere else. So we were... my dad was 26 with 8 kids.
Wow.
Yeah. So when I say very poor, I'm saying we just recently did a thing where we went back to Michigan. Almost all the houses that we lived into, they were so bad that they tore them down afterwards. We were homeless at times. I remember getting evicted on occasions. I remember sewer backing up with clothes in the basement because we didn't have electricity to wash clothes. We had so no, when you say well-to-do, I'm talking about we've had, 50 cars, all runs, great needs, minor work. I remember sleeping on the church floor when we were homeless. I remember seeing someone donate to you bring cans to school because they donated. I remember because they had a big dent in it. And I was like, dang, you gonna give somebody that? They got this big dent in it. I remember seeing that can that someone donated earlier in that week at my house later on. So we were not. I mean, there were times when we were decent, and by decent means that we could go to Meijer, which is like Walmart, and get a pair of school shoes. And I remember getting this nice, fresh pair of J's and from Meijer. So they were Jordache, and I didn't know that Jordache wasn't a name brand. And so I remember 4th grade walking into school and I had these nice pair of J's on there. Everyone, asked me about them, and it wasn't until the end of school I realized that they were laughing at me, not with me.
So was Dad always in the household?
Dad worked a lot. So Dad was always in the household. My mom and Dad separated, I want to say they separated when did they separate? They separated in, I want to say like 1990. Shucks, I forget what year they separated. I think they separated when I was in 9 years old.
9 years old.
Yeah,
okay.
So maybe in late '88 and then '90 they separated. They got back together and they separated again. No, but my dad did my dad had to go down south for a while. He had to go down south for a couple years, 22 years. And
okay.
So it was. I remember coming home. It was like I was 11 or 12 years old. I was in the 6th grade, and I had a fix kicked in the door. I got a call later from the correctional institution that, hey, he's not going to be here for a while. Went outside and shot ball. I mean, that was, so we were decent when we lived with my dad. All right, but after that, that's when things got real bad.
A little rough.
Yeah, that's when, a little rough. It was, yeah. So I guess in a nutshell, no, we weren't well-to-do. But you know what's one thing I had to realize is, I used to say we grew up poor. I used to say we grew up poor, and I stopped that because you literally had to convince me that we were poor. Like, we grew up without money. We didn't grow up poor. So
I think it's so much different now too, Marsau, because back then you only had to compare against those that were around you, your neighbors. And your neighbors typically live very similar to the way that, you live. It's when you get on social media today that people have this outward look, or when kids were being bussed into different neighborhoods and things of that nature. So you learn how to be happy with what you had. I remember traveling to Africa and seeing the kids on the street with no clothes, right? Some shorts or something, but no shoes on. No lights in the house, no doors on the doors. On the house. Kids out there playing with rocks, and they were happy.
yeah.
They were happy. And it was because they didn't have anything else to compare it to. They were genuinely happy. And I saw a sense of happiness that I never saw in this country.
Yeah, I think that's the key. I mean, it's like I said. There are some things that you. I'm sorry. There are some things that that you are where you're at. I mean, you don't have to. Those kids, we weren't eating food.
Okay.
So
you felt that.
Yeah, that's not a comparative thing.
Well, let me ask you this. So when Dad went away, did you still keep in contact with Dad during those 22 years? Or what was your...
Well, he only served a couple of years of that. I think like 4 or 5 years of that. He gets sentenced was 4 to 22. I think he said he served like minimum 5 or something like that. But no. I think my dad and I, we started building afterwards. But, I mean, we didn't like have Dad was Dad, but we didn't have like one-on-one sit down prior to, hey, Dad, what do you think about this? No, we were the kids that, heck, when Dad came home, we was in our room. We were there's too many brothers, too many sisters for us. We hung around ourselves all the time. So my mom sat us down and made us write letters, if that's what you're asking.
No, I guess the reason why I say this, you have very strong views, very strong traditional views. And so I know that you would have had to have learned that from someone, right? So maybe an uncle, or was there a male figure that said, this is what a man is? Because I know most times, Marsau, young men or men that are raised by women tend to have different viewpoints many times. So did you learn, or did you generate your viewpoints, which we'll talk about a little bit later, some of your traditional viewpoints? Do you think you learned a lot of that from your mom, or where do you think you were introduced to that?
Well, I would say this. I think that some of these things are so natural that they are. It's not one of the things that they have to be put inside you. No one has to. Asking a woman where did she learn to breastfeed. It's not something that she went and took a class on.
Some women do. Like some women have a problem breastfeeding.
Yeah, some do. But for the most part, it's something that comes natural.
Well, a nurse usually has to come into the room and they have to teach you how to lactate and the baby to attack. It's a learning process.
I agree. I think, how long do you think that takes?
For some people, it can take a couple of days.
How and then
normally about a couple of days. Because you usually have to go through multiple tries. And most women get so frustrated, Marsau, that they'll break down crying inside of the hospital.
Okay, let's say this. Because maybe women are different. I've seen a cow give birth and its calf immediately go nursing. Now, I've seen all kind of mammals that produce milk give live birth, and their offspring nurse, which lets me know that this is something that happens naturally. Now, I don't know if they have cow nurses or cat nurses that come and teach the kittens how to nurse, but I do know that naturally this is what normally happens. And so what I would say is that there are some parts of what we're talking about, traditional views, it is lined up to me with manhood. And so...
But how did you learn how to be a man, though? If Dad wasn't there, typically, like for instance, for a lot of young women, they had their moms or they had the debutante. Did they go through that process? What do you think was the defining moment for you?
There's so much. There's so much to unpacking that. I mean, I've had my dad. My dad was there. You know, so my dad was there, but at the same time, it was like during some critical moments he wasn't there. But you know, there's a village. I had uncles. I had aunts. I've always seen different kind of families. I've always seen stronger men. I have grandparents. I've always seen these things. We got television that during the time of the Huxtables or whatever, but I've always seen, strong men. I don't think there was ever a question of that. I think what made me less unselfish, I think the desire to be unselfish as a man. All right. So it's not just about making it. It's about having pride in taking care of responsibilities, having pride in being dependent on. That's not something that's natural for every man.
And why is that? Why do you think some men are okay not being that type of man, a provider?
Let's put it to a different analogy. It takes a different level of skills to go to the NBA versus to be a Kobe Bryant. All right? Well, Kobe Bryant is the one that says, hey, listen, I want to be depended on. I want to be the one that not just want the glory, but I want the burden also. Right? It's something about that guy, and you can say that, hey, I'm that guy, but in order to be that guy, you got to try to be that guy. You got to practice being that guy. You got to want to be that guy. And when the time comes, you got to actually be that guy. There's a difference between saying I'm that guy and actually being that guy. And with that takes the risk of being the hero or the GOAT, making the shot or missing the shot, and having that burden. I don't even know guys around me. It's something about being a man. I guess being a real man is to say that they want that pressure. They want that pressure. I don't. There's this thing going around where people are talking about well, man is only valued by what he can produce, and man is only valued by what what he brings to the table. And I don't see none of my friends caring. I'm like, bet. Then I'll bring something to the table. Because the truth is, everything in life is like that. I wouldn't, it's like, imagine, let's put this in a different scenario. What if an ink pen was like, they only want me because I can write? Well, yeah. They only want you, they don't want this phone because it works. Well, yeah. You know what I'm saying? Well, what would happen? I remember I had an employee one time. He said, man, I deserve a raise. I said, why do you deserve a raise? They said, well, because I do everything that you tell me to do. And I said, okay, well, that sounds good, but what would happen if you didn't? Like, what do you think would happen if I asked you to do something and you didn't? That was within your job scope. Now, see, pens and cups, they don't have a choice when they don't serve their purpose. But we as humans do. And so the thing about it is everything has this purpose. And so, yeah, I feel very comfortable being used. I feel very comfortable, being sweaty and tired after the game. I feel very comfortable with the dirty uniform and the battle scars to do it, because that's the measure of not just a man, a measure of a person. What sacrifice do you give? What did I give up in order to get this? It's always... Even when people talk about their wealth, they always talk about what it cost. Oh man, you don't know about this. This cost. Why? Because I want to associate the value with the sacrifice. And so I'm perfectly comfortable being the kind of guy that says, no, I work hard for mine. I sacrifice for mine. I went through the mud for mine. I'll go to war for mine. So, I can be honest with you. I don't understand a guy that wouldn't.
Well, let me ask you this. In this day and time that we live in, there are so many very successful women, right? And in many cases, you have women who make more money than their husbands. How would you be able to handle being in a household with a woman that made more money than you?
Honestly, I got a joke answer, which is I'd go get another job. But
so you would go get another job?
No,
okay.
I would put her in a position to make more money.
Do you think that the person who makes the most money in the household wears the pants?
No.
No?
No.
So how would you as a man be able to still maintain that leadership within the house if your wife made more money than you?
Leadership is not defined by, how much you make. All right. And I will tell you this, that if the money makes the man, it's the money, not the man. And so the man actually has to make the money. And so an intelligent man, a true leader, would look at that position and say, let me put what I'm doing to the side and find a way to uplift you and support this rocket ship. That's what people don't, it's tough sometimes, but it's sometimes when you're actually, I go back to Kobe Bryant, it's like people don't want him to be the one to take the most shots, but he's the best shooter. If he wasn't the best shooter, then he shouldn't take the most shots.
So you would be okay with saying, hey, you're the best shooter.
If you're the best, hands down.
Okay.
Without question. Without question or hesitation. I'm always going to do that right there. Now, there is a time where you have to, as a man, you have to realize that there's a time when my wife is going to become pregnant. There's a time where my wife may not want to do this. Just because you can delegate the task doesn't mean you delegate the responsibility of providing. And so you have to put yourself in a position where you say, hey, if my wife was the breadwinner and she made all the money right here, I still can't put our family in a position where we had to depend on her to, drive through the night in order to get us there. That's not a thing. It may be her time to drive and, it may be her time to provide, but I can't. It's my responsibility. I'm accountable for feeding this family. And my accountability can't say, hey, I need you to go to work so you can, provide. I've got to make sure that whatever we're doing, even if we're pushing her for the time being, that we're taking that money, we're investing, we have a different side hustles. I mean, it's not about who owns it, who's bringing it in. It's really about what you're doing with it and making sure that you're pushing the family forward and they're in a position where provision is always going to be there.
So typically we've seen where in the past you had your stay-at-home moms, right? What are your thoughts about stay-at-home fathers?
That's not a thing.
It is a thing.
That's not a thing.
It is a thing. When I was in corporate America, I knew plenty of women, especially women who didn't look like us, who basically stated that before they got married, they made it was a mandate that somebody was going to have to stay home with the children. And because they were on the upward with their career, they married men who were going to be home with the kids. So the kids still got the dinners. They still had the games. They still had the stability. It was just dad that stayed home.
Yeah, that's not a thing.
So, are you saying you really think it doesn't exist, Marsau?
No, I'm sure it exists, but that's not something I don't have enough information about that to form an opinion.
So if you met a guy at the soccer field, and he said you guys are talking and he says, yeah, I'm a stay-at-home dad, how would you respond to that?
Well, I'd probably laugh. I think it sounds funny.
You would laugh.
Yeah, that's not a thing. That's not something I entertain.
So you wouldn't even probably end up being friends with this guy, even though he could be your fraternity brother. You guys could have a lot in common. He wouldn't be a Q.
He wouldn't be a Q.
Just be a stay-at-home dad.
No. I'm assuming he's a Sigma.
Ooh.
I'm assuming naturally or but seriously, but guys that are probably stay-at-home dads, they probably wouldn't want to be friends with me. And I'm not the guy that's going to judge them like that. I'm not going to guy that's going to beat over that. But there is a certain I won't say aura, but there's a certain energy that I have that people like that don't even want to be around me. And I get it. I get it because I'm a guy that a guy that people I like. I mean, what do you do? I want accountability. I want people to take accountability. I want to be winners. If we're going to have a competition, it's going to be a competition amongst winners. It's not going to be, I don't even understand how to compete with people that are not giving effort.
Well, let's say this, though. Is it really, so they're still a couple, right? It just so happens that one person decided they were going to stay home and the other person decided to go to work. That person just staying home is still him.
Yeah, no, he's not.
Okay.
Yeah, no, he's not. That's one. And second of all is that you have to understand that it's not these things. Part of these things is what you can do better. Now, I mean, it depends. I mean, if you're talking about someone that makes, this woman making,
Let's say she's making 1.2 a year.
1.2 million a year, not enough for a guy to stay at home.
So there's a threshold before he stays home.
Yeah, I would say there's a threshold before he stays home. But even when you're staying home, I mean, is she working in corporate America? She's an entrepreneur.
She just makes a lot of money. Let's just say that this person just makes a lot of money, and she's not home a lot. Mm-hmm. And somebody has to be home with the kids. I mean, you always can hire a nanny, you can hire other people, but I'm sure in the end of the day, you guys want somebody. And to me, that's the same scenario we just talked about when you said you would support the rocket ship of a woman. So if she is that person and she's making a large sum of money and she's saying, but I need you to be here with the kids so we can make this work.
Yeah. That's probably not going to be a relationship for me.
Not for you. And see, that's the thing. I think people have to realize that people have choices. And you have a choice to be able to say, that doesn't work for me. And just like if someone would say, a man like that wouldn't work for them. So everybody has a choice. And that's what people need to walk into it. And that leads me to the next question. One of the things that African-American women are struggling with, because I talked about earlier that Black women are out earning their men partners. If you look at stats, right? And so many Black women are also, very successful Black women are struggling with finding a mate, right? So many of them are either staying single, marrying outside of their race, or engaging in same-sex relationships. So my question to you is, what do you think is the, common denominator that most very successful women are exuding that's making it difficult for them to find a partner in their Black males?
Well, let me ask you a question. Do you think that women, it's here in America, do you think that women make more than men?
I do. Black women or more? Black women.
Yeah, I don't think that. That's
you don't?
No,
okay.
They don't report their money. That's one. But also, I think...
Okay, let's dig in there. You said you think Black men actually make more money, but they're just not necessarily... It's not maybe quote-unquote legal money.
Well, no, it's just not paying taxes on it. It's legal money. I mean, they might be cutting grass, they might be hustling, they might be doing whatever. But I don't know too many Black people that don't have side hustles, number one.
Okay.
And I think that just because women think that they make this amount of money right here, I just don't see a bar full of women buying drinks.
Maybe because I think you are in Alabama. If in Atlanta, y'all don't. So I'm wrong on this. Y'all think I'm wrong? Well, we still want the drinks bought for
They've
it.
got these things called planes. They've got these things called cars. So I don't just live in Alabama or just change in Alabama. I get to go out. But no. So here's the thing, okay? You have two things, all right? Okay. Most women. Well, let me ask you, do you think most women want a guy that makes more money than them?
Yes.
Okay. So, just by that definition alone, most women want a guy that makes more money than them, right? Mm-hmm. The more money a guy makes, the more women he has access to.
That's right.
By definition, the more money a woman makes, the less guys she has access to.
That's right.
Okay? When we start talking about men make on an average of, women make about 70 cents on the dollar for men in America. Mm-hmm. Okay? Now, you might think that's just white men. I'm telling you right now, I think it's across the board. But women make about 70 cents on the average, right? Mm-hmm. So the truth is, and this is not a Marsau thing, this is an American thing. I'm just talking about American statistics. Making money, if you look at the top earners in America, making money is a man thing. If you look at the top earners in America.
I need to see that list at Forbes top 100.
Well, take a guess.
Of who is on the top? A man is probably definitely the richest person. Is the
I'm sorry,
Bezos.
Out of top. Kirsty, is this a question? Out of the top 25, how many women do you think is on there?
I would say probably about maybe a third.
So,
no.
What country do you live in?
You don't think so?
Not even close.
Really?
The top 25 Americans? Top 25 richest
Somebody
Americans.
pull that up while we're the top richest Americans.
And she thinks 8 of them. She thinks 8 of them are women.
I think Oprah's on that list.
Ma'am, stop.
No.
Stop.
So
Stop.
you don't think that women are on that list?
No. I think that women are on that list. Far and few. Mm-hmm. I think men are by far the top earners.
But I want us to get back to black men because
Okay,
the people, because the
I
white
think black
women are fine. They're getting married left and right. Okay, it's the black women.
We have some digging to.
Okay, let's dig.
Let's dig. This base right here. Not one.
I don't trust Fonz though, because Fonz, right?
Like, cause we didn't hear Alice Walton until long after we heard Bill Walton. Sam.
Sam. Mm-hmm.
Right. So my point is, let's just say that okay. Can we also Google the top 10 most beautiful people in America and see how many men are on that list?
One of the things I want to give shout out though is Demi Moore was the most beautiful woman in 2025.
Really?
Mm-hmm. At 63 years old.
Yeah, Demi Moore's not the most beautiful woman.
I'm not saying that she is. I definitely don't agree to that. But what I will celebrate is that it seems like we're opening up to ageism. Like for her to be 63,
it's
and
not ageism. Do you still look good for your age?
Well, but back in the day, Marcel.
That's because they didn't have cosmetics back in the day.
Well,
they didn't have the surgeons back in the day.
Okay, they didn't have the surgeons. But let me say this: before, and this is when I was going back to the Housewives and all that. Reality TV used to get on my nerves at one point. At one point, I was completely addicted, and then I got to a point where now I'm back into a healthy mode, right? But one of the things I will attribute to reality TV is that Housewives really opened the door up to so many women to see women of age actually look beautiful and age gracefully and be celebrated, because there used to be a time once you reached 32 years old, it was a wrap in Hollywood for women.
So what about men aging gracefully?
See, men don't have the same challenges that we have as women.
So that gets to the point.
Okay, what's the point?
The point is, men are judged by money.
That's
America,
right. That's right.
And women are judged by beauty.
That's right.
Okay.
Is that fair?
I'm cool with it.
Okay.
I'm cool with it. Fine with me.
So you're fine with it. So would you tell someone coming up, a younger person, right, a young woman coming up, that she should focus more so on her beauty or to try to get her coins up?
Focus more on her beauty.
Really?
Absolutely.
All right.
I can't think of. I'd hope you would too.
Mm-hmm. Now, why is that?
Because it can take you further. Mm-hmm. It can take you further.
So talk to me. So you're saying there's a pretty privilege.
Well, no. What I'm saying is that if we want to, let's spin the topic a little bit. Okay. Let's think about economics. Back in the day, they used to have this thing called a production possibility frontier, and what it was but we had a farmer that could produce wheat and corn. And they were trying to find the matrix on how much wheat should they produce versus how much corn they should produce. And so it's like, well, you know what? I'm going to take 1/10 of my crops and produce wheat, and I'm going to take the other 9/10 and produce corn. Mm-hmm. And well, then comes in a theory of competitive advantage, right? This is economic studies, and it says, okay, what do you do well? All right? Mm-hmm. What do you do well? What are you best at? Even if you can produce wheat, I can produce wheat and corn, and I can produce both of them better than you. What I really produce best is corn. And so the theory says, produce only corn. Produce as much corn, develop it, get economies of scale, and get to the point where you're the best corn producer, and then sell your corn for money and use that money to buy wheat. Mm-hmm. Okay? Do what you're good at.
That's right.
All right. So instead of, that right there, say Magic Johnson's a good business person, right? Mm-hmm. Is it best for Magic Johnson to put all his eggs in? But he also played basketball. Mm-hmm. So is it best for Magic Johnson to put all his eggs in one basket and just be a basketball player? Mm-mm. No, it was.
Of course, at that time, but it was also, he was wise enough to get additional education, though, Marsau, so that now after basketball, he's able to sustain himself.
And what he didn't do is miss any playoff games getting education. Mm-hmm. What he did not do is you specialize until you become a specialist, and then see the multiple streams of income. The key word ain't multiple, the key word is stream. Mm-hmm. make sure you have one solid stream first.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this stream is a flowing stream, and then you pivot off.
So I agree with that in a sense, but I'll tell you this. I remember being 13 years old and my father sitting down and having a conversation with me. And he said, I am going to teach you how to take care of yourself because there's no guarantee, Ebony, that you are going to find a husband. This was during the time where it was becoming more and more prevalent that Black women were dying without a mate. And so my father did not want me to not know how to take care of myself. Right? So he spent time teaching me what he could teach me about financial literacy and teaching me about business principles and finance in general. Never did he say, don't care about your appearance and things of that nature, because I've always been very driven by that as well. But it was important for him to know that I was going to be okay out there with or without a mate.
Let me ask you a question. All right. What if your dad told his son, I don't want you focusing so much on making money. I want to teach you how to cook. And I want to teach you how to, clean around the house and take care of children. I want to teach you how to hold the bottle. And I mean, I don't know exactly what I mean. Well, I want to get some stereotypical things that women do. But I'm saying is, why don't we tell our guys how to do that? I'm gonna tell you why. Because we know that this mastering this one thing can satisfy all the others.
But also we know that Black men are the most desired creature on this earth.
Outside of America. But what we're saying is...
Even inside of America.
I'm a Black man.
Okay, so Black men are able to marry whomever and whenever.
No, ma'am.
Yeah.
No, ma'am.
You don't think so?
No. Black men with money can. All right? And the key thing is men with money. But watch this. But what I'm saying is this, though. Men can, if you dominate one area, if you're the top person, if you focus on one area, you can take the success in that area and spread it out. So I can go here, I can make this, I can be great on my job, and this can afford me the right to supplement the other things in life, right? If your dad didn't teach you to hit the gym and smile more, then he did you a disservice.
And he probably did me a disservice.
Yeah, if your dad didn't teach you that running track lasts a long ways, track or volleyball, pick one. If he didn't sit you down and say, hey baby, get off that softball field, hit this track. Like, these are things that I can tell you right now. You can work and you can work and ball out of control, but I can tell you how you can make some of those things free. Now, I'm not saying don't make your coins as well. All right. I'm not saying don't be an astute business person as well. I'm not saying don't have those characteristics as well. I'm not saying don't go to college and don't be able to do that. But the second that someone starts telling me about how much they make, they say, well, this is what I make, this is what my credit score is, this is what my financial portfolio looks like. Let me ask this. If this person came in and said, hey, I make $250,000 a year, right? I make $250,000 a year. I've got all my cars paid for. I've got an 850 credit score. My stock portfolio looks like this. And they start telling all these different financial accolades they have. Does that versus that person seems that says, well, this is my body shape and this is what my smile looks like. This is what size I am and things like that. Which one's more appealing to you? The size and their body shape and the way their hair is textured, or the financial? Financial for me. Okay. Guess what it is for me?
The body shape.
Okay. So now we understand that we're attracted to different things.
Yeah, we're attracted to different things.
So one thing will get you further. As
right.
a woman,
As a woman,
that would get you further than your
but let
financial
me ask you
portfolio.
this though. So I do believe that beauty is it's important. But let me ask you this. So the other thing my father taught me was I don't want you to be the type of woman that is dependent on a man from a perspective of you only have enough children that you can take care of yourself.
Your dad taught you wrong.
Let me tell you, and let me finish telling you why he said that. He said because in the event that if you get married one day and your husband dies, your husband divorces you or whatever, or if you have a baby by somebody that's not going to be there, he did not want me to have to be down at a courthouse begging for child support or begging a man to have to do something for their children. He wanted me to be able to be put in a situation to take care of my own kids.
There's 100 different ways you can
achieve that.
Mm-hmm.
How is it? So you think it's wrong? Let's go back to you think it's wrong that he told me that I should not have more children than I can afford to take care of myself.
Okay, because what it did is put you in a position where even when you're united with someone, you're still separate and looking out for Ebony. You never truly become one. Okay? There is a thing that when you have someone of value on your team, if they go down, your team suffers. Bottom line. You don't have a Kobe Bryant on the bench just in case Kobe gets hurt and you can put another Kobe in. No, when Kobe gets hurt, you might lose these next couple games. Right? You're not going to be the same. Because it takes an actual team. I'm not married to a woman that if something happened to her, I can just move on and I could do it by myself. No, I'd suffer. Why would I suffer? Because I wouldn't even be with someone that I didn't need. I would not even be with someone.
But you can't control if that person dies.
No, you can't control that person.
Right.
Dies. If that person dies, I'm gonna be sad about all different things. Now you can get life insurance. But I'm not going to say...
That's if that person had life insurance, right? I think my father was saying he didn't want me to have to depend on the system to take care of...
Well, no, that's not a system. It's called life insurance. And what he should do is instead of saying, hey, don't have this many kids just in case your husband dies, because here's the thing, everyone that ever lived died. So have life insurance. And understand that this person, your husband, not only... if he dies, your husband actually will die.
That's right.
One day. And if you don't happen to die before him, both of y'all should have life insurance on each other. And so there's so many different ways to not say, you know what, what if he told a man that? Would he tell his son, don't have too many kids because if your wife leaves, you want to be able to take care of them by yourself?
I don't think it's even expected that men typically do that. You know, I think this is a great conversation because it allows me to look at things holistically, because one of the things I often talk about is I think my father did a really great job of instilling strength and leadership and being able, but I often wonder sometimes if that also, you know, I just have been lucky to have been, you know, able to find a husband and be married as long as, but there's so many of my counterparts that have not been in that situation. But how, to that, the thoughts that you're telling me, I wonder how much of that is the contributing factor of so many women not being able to find a partner.
Let me ask you a question. All right, and I want you to the exact definition I'm talking about. What's the purpose of a strong woman? Like, why does a woman need strength?
I think what has happened over the years, Marsau, is that especially in the Black community, many of them have developed a level of strength because they didn't have anyone else they could depend on.
Because their parents told them they need to be strong.
Just in case, yeah, they did.
And so my question is, every time someone speaks to the strength of a woman, I say, why do you need it? Why do you need so much strength? Because strong women are still weak men. They can't beat a weak man. So it's not real strength. It's not like your strength or my strength, right? The fastest women in the world can't beat high school boys. Bigger, faster, and stronger. So the question is, and I'm not saying taking anything away from women. I love women's sports. I'm saying women's sports are great when they're competing against women. They're not so great when they're competing against men. And so what I'm saying is, what is the purpose of this strength right now? You got so much nurturing. You have so much intelligence, so much, such an ability to inspire a man, to pull out the best in a man. What's the purpose of the strength to compete in a man? That's an area you lose in every day. right?
Well, I don't lose every day too, but I see what you're saying.
So
I see.
you don't lose in strength to the average man.
Well, you talking about physical strength, or you talking about mental strength?
No, that's intelligence.
That's
I'm talking about
intelligence.
strength.
Well, physical strength, probably so. Yes, definitely,
Yeah.
definitely.
So I wonder why being a strong black woman is a positive thing. You know, what if there's a big thing